Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, welcome to Bhaktivedanta Manor this afternoon, this evening. So, there will be Aarti starting in the temple room at 7 p.m. So, just before that, we have some discussion on Bhagavad Gita every evening. So, we'll be having Bhagavad Gita class now. Before we begin the class, we will also be singing. There is a traditional bhajan which we sing, written by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. It's called Jai Radha Madhava. So we will do it in the call and response fashion. It's very simple to follow. So I'll sing first, and then you just sing back. Yeah, it is just the names of Krishna. Yeah, so please repeat after me. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. 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 Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for coming this evening. So in case you weren't here at the beginning, so every evening we have some discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. And so every day we pick one verse in order. So today we're reading from chapter 2, text 16. So maybe we can try and recite the Sanskrit. So I'll recite and then you can try and repeat after me. So you can see it's on the TV screen. Okay. So after me, Nasato vidyate bhavo. Nasato vidyate bhavo. Na bhavo vidyate sataha. Na bhavo vidyate sataha. Ubhayorapi drishtontas. Ubhayorapi drishtontas. Tva anayos tattvadarshibhihi. Tva anayos tattvadarshibhihi. Would anyone like to try and lead the recitation? Nasato vidyate bhavo. Na bhavo vidyate satam. Ubhayorapi drishtontas. Tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. Anyone else? Nasato vidyate bhavo. Na bhavo vidyate satam. Ubhayorapi drishtontas. Tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. So we'll read out the word-for-word translation and then the main translation. So na, never, asata, of the non-existent. Vidyate, there is. Bhava, endurance. Na, never. Abhavaha, changing quality. Vidyate, there is. Sataha, of the eternal. Ubhayoho, of the two. Api, verily. Drishtaha, observed. Antaha, conclusion. Tu, indeed. Anayoho, of them. Tattva, of the truth. Darshibhihi, by the seers. So this is the main translation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance. And of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. And purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. There is no endurance of the changing body. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science. And thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing, and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotimshi Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnuhu. The words existent and non-existent refer only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself, the difference between oneself and the Supreme Being understood as being the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature, as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So there was a lot mentioned in that translation and purport. So just before we start discussing, we'll just recite some prayers. So if you know the prayers, please follow along. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, we're reading from the Bhagavad Gita, and this is chapter 2. So, of course, as I'm sure you all know, so the Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And in chapter 1, Krishna actually doesn't speak so much. Actually, it is mainly describing the battlefield, because the conversation is taking place on a battlefield. And in chapter 1, Arjuna is also looking across the battlefield on both sides. And he is seeing many of his friends and his family, and he begins to lament and he begins to feel tremendous compassion because he realizes that as a result of this big battle that is about to start, there will be so many lives lost, there will be so much suffering caused, and basically he begins to think and reflect, like, if this battle is going to cause so much suffering, and also he realizes that whether he wins or loses, because he will lose so many friends and family, he feels like, well, maybe he just won't feel happy. Whether he wins, whether he loses, maybe it won't really make any difference because he will have lost so many people. How can he be happy without all of them? So he begins to feel so much compassion, and he begins wondering, should he even fight? He begins thinking, well, maybe he should leave the battle and do something else. So this is basically what happens in chapter 1. So Krishna more starts speaking in chapter 2. So Krishna starts giving various points relating to Arjun's reasons for why he didn't want to fight. And first of all, Krishna starts discussing about the soul, and also discusses about general happiness. So at the beginning of, so a few verses before this, so we are on text 16. So in text 13, Krishna starts describing that dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatra namuhyati, that actually this body is always changing, right? You might have noticed, like when you were a baby, probably, hopefully, you looked quite different to how you look now. And when that baby grows into a young child, a teenager, again, looks completely different. And then grows into an adult, looks completely different. Gets to old age, again, the body starts looking very different. And so it is explained that the body is always changing. And so similarly, at the point of death, it is simply considered just another change of body. Rather than it being the complete end, it is described as just another change of body, because it is described that basically we are not the body. Like, even though your body has changed over your whole lifetime, actually you remain the same person inside, right? Like, for example, like the person you are inside, it stays the same. Maybe your personality might change. Maybe what you look like might change. The things you like might change. But who you are actually remains the same. Your core identity stays the same throughout. And it is described that this core identity is the soul, and it is spiritual. It is not material. And so by definition, it is described that spiritual things are eternal. Material things are always changing, and spiritual things are eternal. So this is one way in which to distinguish what is spiritual and what is material, because that may be a common question. If you're interested in spirituality or religion, how do you know whether something is actually spiritual or material? So one way to distinguish is, does it last? Is it permanent? If it's permanent, if it's eternal, then it's something spiritual. So it is described that the soul is spiritual, and so Krishna explains to Arjun that basically, at the end of life, the soul just changes body. Like, because it gets old, it's difficult to use, so much pain, so it just takes on a fresh body. And again, it keeps changing. So therefore, in this verse, it says that those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance. So it's interesting that it says that the material body it's called non-existent. In Sanskrit, the word they used is asataha, nasataha. So the soul is described to have three main properties. These are, in Sanskrit, it is known as Satchidananda. So Sat means eternal. It means that it goes on forever. Goes on forever means there was even no beginning. It was just always existing, and it continues to exist. There'll never be a time where it does not exist anymore. Another property of the soul is chit, which means knowledge or cognizance. Like we have some limited awareness, everything that's going on in our body and mind. Not everything, but we have awareness that is stretching to our body, right? But our awareness is limited. It is not complete. So, for example, I may be aware of what's going on inside me, but I'm not aware of what's going on inside the body of someone else. My awareness is limited, but it's there. So this is one of the properties of the soul, chit. And ananda, it is described that a soul is blissful, naturally blissful. So what does it mean to say that the material body is non-existent? Because it exists, right? Hopefully it exists. It feels like it exists. It feels real. So basically the idea is it is called non-existent because it doesn't really last. It is not permanent. And in that sense it is non-existent because after some time the body will completely cease. Like for example, after the soul leaves the body, then usually we either cremate the body or bury the body. So if you try and find that same body 5 years later, 500 years later, billions of years later, Shri Shri Radha Gokul Nand ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki. So the body eventually deteriorates and completely ceases to be. And in that sense, then it stops existing. It is only existing for a very short period of time. If you look in the big span of things, it is just there for a glimpse and then it's gone. So in that sense, material things, any material things are described to be temporary, always changing. In text 14 of the same chapter, so 2 verses before this, Krishna also explains that not just the body, but even happiness is always changing, always coming and going. It is never permanent, the material happiness which we experience. Krishna compares it to winter and summer seasons. He describes like both the happiness and the distress are inevitable. Just like winter is inevitable, summer is inevitable, both will come and go. So it is described that whatever we experience, it's always changing because it's all material, the happiness which we try and seek. And basically we are seeking happiness because it is explained that the soul is pleasure-seeking. We are always looking for pleasure. And when we try and look for pleasure in material things, we are unsatisfied because we are not material, we are spiritual. And often we try and satisfy the need for pleasure from material things, and so therefore it just doesn't feel very satisfying or substantial because that's not what we're made for. We're made for something spiritual. And so here you can see Srila Prabhupada writes that even in modern science, it is quite obvious that the body is always changing, that nothing stays the same. It is said that most cells, after 7 years, they're gone. Most cells in the body, hardly anything stays the same. Now it's interesting that the verse also mentions those who are seers of the truth are the ones who conclude that the material is always changing and the spiritual is eternal. And here Srila Prabhupada writes that seers of the truth refers to both the impersonalists and the personalists. So there are two understandings or conceptions of God, it seems like sometimes. There is the impersonal understanding means that some people consider that God is like some form of energy or light or the universe, and sometimes they conceive that like we are all one, we are all part of God, and it's all the same, and everything is all one, it's all light, it's all energy. So this is impersonal. There is no personality behind it. It's just like a mass kind of void, or just a uniform thing, right? There is no form, there is no person, there is no characteristics. It's all just the same. So this is impersonalism. And our conception is actually the opposite, is personalism, that we have the conception that God is a person, he has a certain personality with likes, dislikes, he has family, he has friends. And generally in the Vedic tradition, and actually we're not saying that the impersonalists are totally wrong. Like you can see here, it says impersonalists are also seers of the truth. So it is described that there are 3 levels to realizing God, to understanding this truth. Truth means, in this sense, what is permanent, and God is always existing, right? Spiritual, anything spiritual is always existing. So there are 3 phases of God realization. It can be explained in an analogy, and the analogy is of a train. So if you see a train just from a distance, imagine you're waiting on a platform and the train is like very far away and you see it in the distance, and then therefore all you see is maybe some light, you maybe hear some sound, and that's it, right? If you see a train from very far away. And so you may conclude that, yeah, a train just means some light and sound. And that's true, right? It's limited, but it's true. A train has some light, it has some sound. If you stay on the platform a little bit longer, as the train comes closer, you may see that the train is not just light and sound, but it has many carriages. So you will see that, there are many compartments. So a train is some moving object, a lot of compartments, it has some light, it has some sound. And then if you stay on the platform a little bit longer and wait for the train to arrive on the platform, you will notice that there are, hopefully, sometimes people inside the train, right? So then you will understand that the train has some light, it has some sounds, it's a moving thing with lots of carriages, and it seems to carry people from one place to another. And so all 3 understandings are true, but some are more limited. So therefore it is a bit like that. So for example, if one just sees the train from far away, just sees the light and the sound, that is like the conception of impersonalism, where they see just some energy and they think that this is the idea of God. It's just some energy, it's just some light, it's all one, no other characteristics. This is in Sanskrit called Brahman or Brahmajyoti. Then it is described that the next level of understanding in our analogy of the train is like it has some carriages. There's some more detail. So this is compared to seeing God as, in Sanskrit it is known as Paramatma. Atma means the soul, and Param means the topmost or the highest or the best. So we sometimes translate it as super soul. So it is described that Paramatma, the super soul, is a form of God, and he resides in everyone's heart. So inside everyone there is God, there is Paramatma or the super soul. And it is described that actually Krishna is also within every single atom. And so the idea of God being everywhere. So this is Paramatma, that God is everywhere, he's inside everyone's heart. And it is described that the function of the super soul, of Paramatma, is to witness our activities, because our soul is also there. So the idea is that the soul and the super soul, they're always traveling together. And so the super soul witnesses and sees all the activities of the soul. And basically Krishna is there in the heart, and he's just waiting for us to turn to him, because we are just busy enjoying so many other things, and we forget that God is actually there in the heart with us. So this is Paramatma. But actually there is something beyond that. It is not just that God is some like source or form of energy. Beyond that, God is also within our heart. But also, when the train comes in, you also see more details, that there is people inside the carriage. So similarly, the 3rd level of God realization in Sanskrit is known as Bhagavan, or that God is an actual person, an independent person, and he is actually, as well as being in our world and being a part of everything, there is a whole other spiritual world where God is also residing, and God is a complete person with a full personality, He has friends, he has family, like that. And Bhagavan means someone who is uh, full of opulences. Opulences meaning um, Krishna has full beauty, Krishna has all strength, intelligence, or knowledge. Knowledge, knowledge, strength, beauty, wealth, renunciation, and fame. So it is described that Krishna has all of these to the fullest extent, because sometimes in the world you may find people who have a lot of wealth, but maybe they don't have so much fame, or they don't have so much strength, or vice versa. You may find someone who has a lot of strength, but maybe they don't have so much money, and so on. So there are many people in the world who have some of these qualities. And even if they have some of these qualities, like for example, if there is someone who has a lot of money, they will always find someone else who has a lot of money, or they will find some group who has even more money, and there will be. And it is described that basically Krishna is like the most wealthy, the most intelligent, the most famous, the most beautiful. And interestingly, one of the qualities is also the most renounced. He's also the most detached, because although Krishna has so much love for everyone, there are those that who naturally don't, who are not interested in God, right? It is nowadays especially becoming more and more rare that people are interested in spirituality or religion. So even though Krishna loves them so much and he gives every opportunity, he's also renounced, he's also detached. Like if someone wants to be separate, be away from God, then he facilitates whatever their desires are, he accepts. He gives that independence. So these are the three levels of God realization. And so therefore, both those who consider God as a person or don't consider him to be a person, they're still seeing the truth, but some are seeing it to a less or more extent. And so you can see that here it is explaining that our conception of God and our position as the soul is that the soul is actually a part and parcel of God. It is like we are a tiny fragment of God. We are not God himself, but we are a part. Just like if you take a drop of water from the ocean and you analyze the chemical properties, you'll still find it's like H2O. And you'll find there's some salt and so on. And if you analyze the whole ocean, you'll also find there's H2O, there's salt, there's so many chemicals. But obviously, one drop of water compared to the whole ocean is very, very different in quantity. And so it has a very different impact. And so it is described that similarly, we have many of the qualities of God, but to a very limited quantity. And so therefore, as I was mentioning earlier, there is this idea of Satchit Ananda, that we are eternal. So God is also eternal. We also have knowledge or awareness, but our awareness is limited to our body, whereas God's awareness is complete. He's aware of everything, because as we mentioned, he's in everyone's heart. So God is aware of everything that's going on with everyone. And God is also full of bliss. So, and finally, you can see it says that, therefore, because we are a part of God, so therefore, Srila Prabhupada mentions that one can understand the nature of God by studying ourselves and also studying the difference between us and the material energy, between us and God. And so therefore by comparison also you can understand different qualities by seeing what is the difference between us and matter, us and God, like that. So we will pause here. If anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to share. Otherwise, we can finish here. No? All good? Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. No, thank you. So yes, sun rays, sun disk, sun planet. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Anything else for anyone? No. So thank you very much. So darshan will open again in about 10-15 minutes at 7 o'clock, and there will be arti. So you can stay till then if you like. There is also some prasadam in reception if you like. I think there's some cake. So, okay, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Is it closed or it goes open?
Seven.
Sound o'clock you open.
Yeah. Today's at 7 o'clock.
Sound o'clock. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Just disappearance today or Krishna.